her face. She made me feel just like a natural born winner when I'm not even in the race. That's why they call me Mr. Lucky, and I thank my stars above. You can call me Mr. Lucky, 'cause I'm lucky in love. Never had a whole lot of money. I was never good at games and chance. When I'm playing cards with my buddies, well, the money flies right out of my pants. Don't you know I got a little secret? It's the ace of hearts up my sleeve. And when I get home to my honey, she give me love like you wouldn't believe. Yeah, they call me Mr. Lucky, and I thank my stars above. You can call me Mr. Lucky, 'cause I'm lucky in love. When I'm walking through my neighborhood, everybody knows I'm feeling good. See me smiling from my head to my feet. They say, ain't that Mr. Lucky coming down the street? Hey, that's me. I'm Mr. Lucky when you kiss my lips, when you touch me with your fingertips. I'm Mr. Lucky when you hold me tight. I'm Mr. Lucky when we kiss goodnight. Baby, they call me Mr. Lucky, and I thank my stars above. You can call me Mr. Lucky, 'cause I'm lucky in love. Call me Mr. Lucky, and I thank my stars above. You can call me Mr. Lucky, 'cause I'm lucky in love. Call me Mr. Lucky in love. Call me Mr. Lucky in love. You know that's right. Baby, 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 baby.
Hey everybody, what's going on? What's hot? What's hip? What's happening? What's shaking on your Monday? Tonight I'm going to tell you about exiting the Dabbleverse. Or as we know it, I got nothing. I had no time to show prep. Okay, Rumple Trenchcoat says, hiya Joker, Aku Dupa, Tom, everyone. Hello, Rumple Trenchcoat. Toby McGrovey says, this song is still awesome every time I hear it. The dog leaves until I'm done dancing like an idiot. That is the mark of a good song. Aku says, let's say I've had a lot of time to play catch up on old Rico shows. Rumple Trenchcoat, hello. Most cheerful chat room on the internet as verified by independent sources. Hey, go ahead, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, retweet, do all those crazy things you can do for free as we serve the almighty algorithm. The almighty algorithm. You know, interestingly enough, the Dabbleverse maybe not that popular with my Twitter audience. We have exactly zero. Sorry, there's a thing in my ocular occlusion. Anyway, okay. I guess it's just going to be there throughout the show. 11 people listening right now on YouTube, 0 on the other one. Chef in the house yet? No, he's not. RTC, Dupa, Joker, Jack, we've assembled. Yes, everyone is assembled. Assembled. Okay. Yeah, just vamping here for another 10 minutes. The Dabbleverse is not a friendly place. Says Joker. Well, as we sit here from high atop Mount Dabbleverse adjacent, we're not Dabbleverse. We're just off to the side a little skosh. But occasionally, I don't know what's happened today. I work for a living. So if he hasn't gone back on today, then it'll be tomorrow. And if not tomorrow, the next day. He's not gone. Look. I was saving a lot of this for the show. But I'll just give you a little sneak peek. Because I guess this is the show now. I played the opening. Only one man has successfully escaped the Dabbleverse. One man. And that man's name is Phil Elmore. My man. He said, I'm leaving. He left. Nary a word has been heard since. Oh, you hear little inklings and rumblings from people he's talked to, but he hasn't gone on any shows and he hasn't done all that stuff. Now, maybe he will at some point. I think everybody would like it if he did, but he's the only guy. Akko says, basically, I've been working 2 full-time jobs over the weekend. On the first, I worked 18 hours minimum, 26 on the Saturday with a 300 milligram dose total of caffeine. You'd need it for that. Jokerfish says, love Uncle Phil. Let's see. TSN has countless hours for blunder years. Nobody is worried. Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much. Because he's still going to do stuff. He's still going to do verifiable things in the universe that are going to be dumb. But he ain't gone. He'll come back with a new, absolutely unbelievable excuse as to why he left, and it was valid, and and why he came back, which was equally valid, and all that stuff. Randy says, I'm in the house. Let's see here. Every once in a while, Phil is in the Rico chat. Yeah, a little here, a little there. 3,000. Rumple Trenchcoat says, Phil is the DB Cooper of the Dabbleverse. I miss him, though. Yes. Is Phil Channel putting out videos again? No, that's the point. That's what I just said. He's the only man that's escaped the Dabbleverse. Said I'm leaving and left, and that was it. Hey, Blind Mike, who I really like. I love his show. I recommend it. He at one point said, I'm not doing any more John shows. Well, I think that's all changed. Phil Elmore is awesome. I love how easily he can sum up a situation with eloquence in class. I love his gamer references too, says Toby McGrovey. Yeah, Phil's awesome. Master of Violence says, we do need Phil back. Well, I think some people had enough. They had enough. But he'll decide that on his own. He's fine. Let's see here. John is back. He said I wanted... So he wants him to worry for a day or 2 days or something. Come on, man. He's already back. Has it even been technically a day that his show has been off the air? I mean, did he miss a weekend show or something? That it? Oh God, the world's coming to an end. What will we do? That dude is just... It's rare you get to see the de-evolution of a human being live every day. Normally it happens in like every few months. It's very noticeable, but Aku says, John is the laziest man alive, and he couldn't just not do something. Well, yeah, he gets his adulation, you know. You don't have to be Columbo to figure out what's going on there. And you don't have to be the Scarlet Witch to have the power to understand what's going on there. And you certainly don't have to be a World War II GI who has somehow confiscated some Pervitin from the Germans. And you don't have to have the monstrous intellect. And that one's just creepy. I have no double entendre. It's just creepy. Let's see here. Andrew Hanley says, was that you in the sketch leak, Tom? I'm pretty sure it's not, because I don't even know what the sketch leak means. So I'm going to go ahead and say that's not me. Toby McGroby says, I think we can all agree whenever John leaves, it will not be on purpose. He's too self-absorbed to pass up attention, negative or positive. You got that right. And he is really spiraling out of control with all the doxing and the people's significant others and all that. JPP. I'm down with JPP. Yeah, you know me. Says, I thought he looked familiar in that video. I don't know what you're talking about. Aku says, I'll give it a month prior to leaving Cali. John has fallen farther into his delusions. He really has. It's like there's no speed bumps there now. It's floored straight for the borderline. Not a speed bump in sight. Not even a turtle crawl across the road. Nothing. Not even a discarded bag of fast food. Nothing. Just you could roll a nickel all the way. So Andrew Hanley says, Tommy, Tommy, you don't know who Sketch is? Everywhere on social media. Nope. Sorry, that one's escaped me. As I mentioned earlier, I work for a living. I'm at work a lot. And then I do this. So I'll look into Sketch later. Every time I get sidetracked with one of these boondoggles, the show suffers. And this show, you know, we're threadbare as it is. By the way, you can super chat. We are monetized. You can turn on your gifted memberships too, in case somebody gives us some. But this show, you know how you like burn the top of your mouth on pizza or something? The skin that hangs down from, that's how thin of we're, yeah. Joker says Tom is hosting his super chatters tonight. He's paying. John is hosting his super chatters tonight. He's paying. Oh, hosting them where? The Belmont. This big thing we've heard about. It's going to be a fiasco. Just like, look, it's going to be a fiasco. Just like the keychains and everything else is a fiasco. The trip to Washington, the whole thing. It's going to be a fiasco, and it'll be easily identifiable as a fiasco, intuitively obvious to even the most casual of observers, and John will play it off as it was the greatest night ever that's ever happened in the history of darkness. Yes, the Belmont. Oh, the Belmont. Toby McGrovey says the Dabbleverse is always fun, but I can't keep up like I used to. So when I do jump back in for a night, the references go over my head. Yeah, it's tough sometimes to keep track of all the moving parts in the Dabbleverse. Aku says it's funny John thinks Shuli has the power over us to stop super chatting John. To Quote Kumia addressing the pests, if we told them to keep breathing, they would all go blue out of spite. Yeah, that's kind of the way it is. Just going to sneak in with popcorn. You go right ahead, Doc Torn. Mike David says, hey, Tom, are you sponsored by CBS? Curious because of the background. Well, as you may or may not know, Mike, that's an old photograph of what's now the Odyssey building. Odyssey, of course, was purchased by Entercom, and Entercom, of course, purchased CBS Radio. So it's a couple iterations old. So there's really no more. Well, there's network CBS Radio News, but the stations I don't think are owned by CBS anymore. Thanks for asking, Mike. Dr. says, also, hail Tom and my fellow gully heads. Thank you, Dr. Jokerfish says, I used to live near the Belmont. I would have worn a disguise and reported. Tony McGrovey, Dr. Most cheerful chat room on the internet is verified by independent sources. Mike Davis said, it looks like the Nakatomi Plaza. It does look like that. And its decoration on the inside hasn't been changed since that movie came out. Neither has the equipment in the newsroom. Doopadoopadoo says, hello, Doc Torn. Tom, what do you do for work? Things. Toby, how you doing? I think my past career is pretty well documented. Something along those lines. Jokerfish says, the Doc Torn, hello. People saying hi. Mike David says, is Die Hard also your number one Christmas movie? I don't know that it's my number one Christmas movie, but it is, in fact, a Christmas movie. Maybe not my number one. I'm a big It's a Wonderful Life guy, but it's in the top 5 of my favorite Christmas movies. Yeah, come out to the coast. We'll have a few laughs. It is a Christmas movie. Ho, ho, ho. Now I have a machine gun. That's not Christmas. It's my number one, and I don't even celebrate. Good. Nightmare Before Christmas is my favorite. It's a good one. Toby McGroby says, Aku, you just nailed it there. If the pests in Dabble cannot be controlled, no, they cannot. And they will not. It's an organic thing. It takes a life of its own. So, let's see here. Let's see, this one's first. What? You'll put your eye out, kid. I'm so happy we have this forum to share things about each other. Well, yes, Mike, that's what I'm here for. I guess I could open up the phone lines at some point. Let's see. Groundhog Day is my favorite Groundhog Day movie. True Grit is my favorite movie about True Grit. Old Yeller is my... Anyway. That is funny, Jack. Aku say, I was really hoping someone could bring Doug from hiding and aim him at John. Doug out. Let's see here. Tommy Trucknuts. How's it hanging on the mountain today? I'm not on a mountain. Mike David says, I think Leo DiCaprio should star in a Tom Gully movie. Really? Being his best friend. I always thought Christopher Walken, a younger Christopher Walken, would play me. Or even the old one. Who the hell am I kidding? Even the old one could do that. It would be fine. Jokerfish says, I'm watching pro wrestling. This man is trashing a guy. He drew first blood. He trashed his kids. Trashed his kids. Yeah, in the pre-show, he trashed his kids. And that was it. Cage match. Cage match. Let's do it. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. Let's see here. Lee Pace would play a good Tom. He's almost tall enough. I don't know who Lee Pace is. Andrew Hanley says, how about the USA soccer team? Haven't spoke since the last game. Oh, boy, they suck right now. They really suck. We need a coach. So we need us a coach. Phone lines are open at 972-994-6822. We need a coach. We're getting rid of that coach, though. Let's get a good one. Let's go out and get the best international soccer coach there is that money can buy. We have that. Good Lord, if you think we could buy Messi and put him on the team, we wouldn't do it? Yes, we would. The best coach you can find. Don't get any of these Major League Soccer rejects. I love listening to the O&A vids here on YouTube. It's fun to see how long after the pest attack, how long those shows remained on the air. It wasn't long. Lucas Malagos says, I'm thankful for Tom introducing me to his Dabbleverse. It's been interesting to follow. It's not my Dabbleverse. Ben Silverman says, Mike David, I think Tim Roth would suit Gully better. He's too small. Michael Madsen could have done it at one point. Mike David said, Tom, by chance, do you have the physical box set of the Andy Milanakis show on DVD? I do not. That show was red hot for like a season or two, and then other people started doing pranks or something. It was a good show. It was a darn fine show. Darn fine. Aku, my phone is filled with O&A for my dog walks and commutes. Andrew Hanley says, Tom, you're built like a Maytag fridge. Kind of. Ben Silverman says, great show. Thanks, Ben. Mike David says, thought you would have been a big Milanakis guy. I liked the show. It was good. 70s Clint Eastwood is Tom Gully. Yeah, that's probably more like that. Or the 50s Chuck Connors. That's probably the best one. The guy was on the rifleman. That's probably the best one. I don't know. You guys fight it out amongst yourselves. I do have a thing that I'm really good at, though, which is I can tell who would play you in a movie of your life. I can tell who the casting would be. I can't do it for myself. I can only do it for other people. Jokerfish, good call. It was a good call. Very good call. We've had a lot of calls here on the Tom Gully Show, and that was a damn fine call. Andrew Hanley says, beers on a Monday, Tom? Beers? Try Mountain Dew Zero, Pally. Tom don't do no drinking. 80s Chuck Norris is Tom. He's probably too short. Not beat up in the face enough. Jokerfish, don't knock a battery off Tom's shoulder. Yeah, that was Robert Conrad. Uh-oh. Hey, what's going on?
Hello, Mr. Gully.
How's it going?
All right. Good weekend?
I just watched soccer and slept.
I think I watched racing, but soccer. It's really hot right now, I'll tell you that. We're going to be up in the hundreds here. I'm not looking forward to that. I should have taken my car in today, but I didn't.
We're already in the hundreds.
Oh, I know. You guys are in the blistering territories more than us. At least we got ocean breeze coming here. It's not bad out right now, but I'm not sitting outside. I decided to stay in today.
Hey, there you go. Staying in never hurts.
I was thinking about what was that story I was going to tell? Another funny story that I can't remember what it was.
Damn.
Not the drive-in.
Damn.
although there are several good drive-in stories. I had one, one of our town councilman, or maybe he's mayor, Jay Fogel, was like that. I used to tease him because there were 4 of them, and there were 3 girls and him, and all the girls looked like him, and none of them looked like their mom and dad. So I used to call him Daddy Fogel. He, of course, was very, I don't want to say naive, but no experience, kind of like my friend Decker. And Big John, of course. This is after the big takeover with all the drive-ins owners being murdered in gangland style by the mob. And then all the drive-ins turned into XXX drive-ins. So I laughed and I said, can you imagine Fogel at one of those? And John chuckled and said, let's pick him up. So we drive over to Fogel's. And I said, Jay, let's go. And he's like, where are we going? And I said, you'll see. And so we drive 5 miles out of town, because it's like about 6 miles from my house. And he starts approaching the junction, and Fogel goes, where are we going? And I said, you'll see. And we had picked a avenue that allowed us to get in for free. It was a back road that apparently no one paid any attention to. It went into the drive-in, so we drive in there. We picked up a huge trash bag of beer, and as we drive in, and the chief is with us. And as we drive in, Fogel's sitting in the front, and immediately when he sees the action on the screen, he goes, what? And like right up on the dash. And I said, Jay, you're fogging up the windshield. Back off. And what happened to be playing was Circus Kromkausen. And it was these little people having sex, and there's these clowns that are watching them. And John and I are cracking up. So we empty this trash bag of beer. And then we go out and we start frolicking in front of the screen where there's a playground.
So that was that playground, the pea gravel.
Yeah. Oh, this was all grass. There was no gravel.
Oh, okay.
And so we're up there fiddling around, and Fitz says, look at that. Wolf, look. And there's a guy and his girlfriend in a van, obviously going at it. And you can, when you're up there, you can see the silhouettes of all the people in the cars. There's probably 20 cars out there. Some of them are DePaul students, so we start screwing with them. And it's a big yelling match back and forth. And then John decides that it's a good idea to start tormenting people in their cars. So we're running around, picking up cars and dropping them and scaring the heck out of people while they're in the middle of sex. We go into and then of course they had the ad for the concessions go on. And I said, well, I can't go without having drive-in popcorn and pizza. So we went in and we got that. I think I bought all of their pizza. And I think we bought all of their popcorn and put that in the bag. And this time, I believe that the chief had enough eggs because he didn't go on a psycho run like he did the last time.
Wasn't the chief legendary for hooking up with just hideous women?
Chief and Big John. In fact, we left our blood and skin at the Sixpence Inn. John was trying to hook up with this heavy set black woman that initially was hitting on me, and I showed, of course, no interest whatsoever. And by the time he had, oh my gosh, he probably had 3 or 4 bottles. He was on his velvet blue streak where he was. Everything had to do with the movie. Had to do with the movie. So he was drinking B&B, and he'd probably had, I don't know, 3 bottles of cognac by this time. The Redskins are playing the Dallas Cowboys, and I believe they were winning. Anyway, John eventually gets so hammered that's when we went on our little tryst to the motel where he tore a hole in his leg, broke his finger again. But that was Mr. That was a Mr. Brown night also, where there was I drank 15 bottles of wine, 5 bottles of Bushmills, and 6 bottles of Jameson's, and then I had to start drinking John's B&B because he was too drunk and it started accosting customers in the bar, picking them up, and I said, "That's it, we're out of here." But before that, I had to go to the toilet, so I go in the bathroom, and there's a guy in there that's so drunk that he is literally at a 45-degree angle to the toilet, over it with his hands against the wall. Because he can't stand up, he can't zip his pants down to pee. And I go there and I take a leak and I see the situation he's in, and I start laughing immediately. And he said, oh, damn it, damn you, black bastard. Oh, damn you. And I just kept laughing, and I said, have a good time, and walked out. And then, John, we get outside of the now gone wagon wheel. He's now in a brand new apartment complex. You get out of there, and it's the major street going from the freeway all the way through Escondido to several other freeway entrances and exits. And it's a 4-lane road that goes through Escondido. And everything connects to it. So he wanted a place. We'd come back from scouting up in Fresno, and he wanted a place that was, we wouldn't have to drive to go and drink. So that's why I picked the illustrious Sixpence Inn. It was across the street. So there's like Center City Parkway, and then on the other side there was a 7-Eleven that was robbed virtually every other week because it was easy to rob it and then get away using Center City. So, and then to that was the illustrious Sixpence Inn. And had problems because it had central air, and he couldn't sit right on top of the air conditioner as he always did with it full blast. So that was a constant complaint. When we get there, going across Center City, John just took off in the middle of traffic. There's probably 60 cars. And he's running along, jumping up and down, waving his arms, going, ah! I said, you idiot, get out of the road. I ran out there, grabbed him, he fell down, tore a huge hole in his leg.
Oh, that's where the blood and skin came from.
Oh, gosh.
Hey, Rumpled Trenchcoat just gifted 5 Tom Gully Show memberships. Turn on your memberships. Tells how to at the bottom of the screen. You could be one of those people. Anyway, so big giant hole in his knee.
There's a hole in his knee that is bleeding all over the place. His finger's broken. I didn't bother with that because that's not a big deal for players, I've had mine broken so many times. He lays down on the bed and passes out. And I'm like, oh, crap. Because the reason we were there was so that we wouldn't have to drive. Well, he's got a hole in his leg. He won't stop bleeding. So now I got to drive all the way back across Center City in about, oh my gosh, I had to drive all the way over here where I live because at that time they didn't have a Walgreens a few blocks away.
Yeah.
So I had to drive clear into the other end of Escondido and then drive back with bandage this idiot's leg up. So he's passed out when I get back with the bandages. And just to let people know how conditioned football players and athletes get, I tried to bandage his leg, and he kept rolling over. Of course, it was blood all around the wall and blood, blood on the seat. And I said, Fitzpatrick, get your leg up in the air. And so he's out cold. Lifts his leg straight up in the air, straight out. And I start bandaging, and every time he starts to lower us, I'm not through with the pre-wrap. Get that leg back up. And straighten it back up, and I finish bandaging it. He wakes up the next day, and he looks around, and I've been up, obviously, as usual, for hours, but he finally wakes up and drags himself into the bathroom and comes out, and he looks, my cousin would say, he's toe up. And John looks at me and says, Kim, I've never felt this bad in my life. And at that time, he had a 10-gallon hat, Stetson boots, a leather bag for his computer and his reports, and that's all he owned. Later, of course, he bought 80 acres in Langtree County.
Langtree County, Texas.
Yep. Another one of my well-liked songs from The Who about Lily Langtree.
Lily Langtree.
So then he looks at me and he says, Kim, I'm looking at my finances. He says, I show here the bill for the wagon wheel, and it's several $100s. So we added up how much we spent. I had tipped the waitress $70 and told her I don't ever want us to be out of drinks. So we actually started out with beer, but they ran out of the beer that I liked. So that's when I switched to wine, and then they ran out of that. So then it was Bushmills, and then it was Jameson's Irish whiskey. So I looked at the bill, and I added up what I spent. And I said, John, that's $458 spent on booze. That's the two of them. So that was and I said, you know what this is, don't you? And he said, what? And I said, we left our blood and skin at the Sixpence Inn, and he started laughing. And then he was off to scout, what's his name, from San Diego State that played for New Orleans on the offensive line. Crap, I can't remember his name. That has a band.
I don't know.
It's a good, he's been in New Orleans for a while, in Texas. What the heck is his name? He played for the Saints, and I think he made the Pro Bowl a few times too as a line offensive tackle, I think.
Huh.
The heck was his name? Maybe the Giants too. But anyway, that's who he was there to scout. And then that was one of our many adventures, other than visiting Pacers at Keystone at the crossings. As you're getting ready to go on the freeway, Pacers was on the right.
Yeah.
Right there where the entrance ramp was.
Yeah.
And
the whole thing was sort of, well, they were all close to ramps, all four sides.
Yeah, it was, I had extra money to blow, but I didn't, because I had been betting people that I could pick up their trucks. So one dude had this big four-wheel drive. I bet you can't pick the front end of that one up. And I said, really? So I won $250 lifting that one up. And then we went to the bar. I forget which one it was, but that's where the ever popping up Lemme was. and a couple other Ball Staters were there too. But I was buying
Rosa Coronas and Whirly Gigs were over there.
it. It might have been Rosa Coronas, and I was buying rounds of 4. So every round she had to bring 4 drinks, whether we were drinking beer or whatever it was. I drank beer though that night, so we ended up probably dropping. Oh, good Lord! I think we probably drank somewhere around 60 to 80 beers. I forgot, lost count after 6 rounds. And so we go, I don't know how, but whenever John and I were together, somehow there would be some, bookstore, some kind of porn bookstore or strip club or something would always loom off in the distance, and John would get a grin on his face. I go, "We're not going there." And he'd go, "Yeah, we are." And I'd say, "Well, no, we're not." And eventually I'd say, "All right." So we'd go there. We ended up in that place, and it was just, you walked in the door. I don't know if you've been in there or not, but you walk in the door.
I don't even know where you're talking about.
Huh?
Where are you talking about?
Pacers.
Oh, Pacers. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you walk in the short hallway in the front door, and then the counter, which was, I think it was kind of L-shaped. And then, they had not a very large selection of like tapes and stuff that were on the wall. And then it was mostly just booths and peep shows where you could actually watch the girl do whatever she was going to do, which, of course, I had to ruin. So,
of course.
John knew I was going to be up to no good. And he said, "Tim, we don't want to cause any trouble here." And I said, "What are you worried about, John? What is he going to do?" I said, "Look at us. Look at him. Do you really think he's stupid enough to do anything?" And John just shook his head, and then he disappeared. And I found out that he was watching some show called A Masters in one of those little 50-cent peep show rooms. It was and the reason he came out is because he kept hearing them on the intercom. So I had gone in one of the door was slightly ajar, so they weren't really locked. And I opened up the door and I walked in, and I'm assuming that she thought I was going to put money in, and then she could, you paid.
Yeah, for time or whatever. Yeah.
Well, it was like you paid through the. You didn't really pay through the phone, but you could pick up a phone and talk to her. So you paid for time. Well, I hadn't paid anything,
if you want to touch the phone, yeah.
Well, and I picked up the phone, and it was just on.
Yeah.
So she was sitting there in a chair, and the curtain or whatever went up, and she's sitting there in a chair, and she's fully clothed. Well, she had on a pair of shorts and like a tank top or something, so she hadn't been doing any strip teases or anything. I'm sure that at that time of night we were the only ones there. And she pointed at the phone, and I picked it up, and she said, "Exactly what the F do you want?" And I guess I'm supposed to tell her, "Well, I'd like you to blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Hello? Hello?" She said, "Yeah, I can hear you." And I said, "Hello," as if no one was on the other end. And she realized that I was up to no good. I was there for trouble and nothing else. So she got on the intercom, and she said, "Martin to booth B, please. Martin to booth B, please." And so I walked out and left the door open, and he came. I was gone. He didn't know where I was because it was like a circle.
Yeah.
You just walked out and came out where the front door was, and then went by the desk and back around again past all the peep show things, and then where the little film things were, and then you were back to the front again. So I had walked around there while he was walking through the door. So he closed the door. I reversed my direction and went back and opened it up again. They went back in and picked up the phone and said, hello, this is Martin. And she got on the phone and said, guess what the F do you want? And I said, hello, this is Martin. And she said a few other swear words, and I said, hello, this is Martin. And so I hung it back up, and she started paging, Martin to Boot B, please, Martin to Boot B, please. And by that time, Fitz figured out that I was up to something because they. So he walked out, and I was on my way because I knew he was coming to check things out and close the door again. So I had walked down the hall, and Fitz opened up the door and came out because I didn't have any idea where he was. And I said, what the heck is he doing in there? And he said, I'm watching A Masters. And he said, I'm assuming that the intercom is about you. And I said, yes, it is. Hello, this is Martin. And he started laughing. And he said, man, we got to get out of here. And I said, no, we don't. So I waited till the guy walked back to the counter. And I walked back in and opened up the door again and went in and started saying, hello, this is Martin. And I said, John, he's not going to call the police. I said, are you kidding? They're probably in trouble now with him. And the next day, he drove home, and the next day it was on the news that Pacers had been closed down by the police. I don't know what happened, but
That's the final night.
Oh, so that's where the nickname Martin came from. Hello, this is Martin. No matter what you said. Hello, this is Martin.
Oh, God. Oh, man. Let's see here. Ruffled Trenchcoat says, holding the phone to your ear in that place could give you a case of hearing aids. I'll show myself out. Yeah, I wouldn't touch the phone there. Closed down. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of places that are slimy that got closed down. Remember Shannon's Roaring Twenties? It was on like Meridian Street. It's just, oh, God. It's drywall with holes in it and just old ripped up tables and booths with more duct tape than actual vinyl on the seats, and just awful.
This place was fine. I mean, it was clean. They probably cleaned the phones and all that stuff. So I don't know why they got shut down, but I just knew that they were in trouble. I don't know how I knew. I just knew, and then the next day they're shut down by the police. I don't remember what they said. I was laughing too hard to hear it all. So that was how I got the name Martin. So John would be like, he'd be up at he'd be at like South Dakota State or something, scouting a tight end, and I'd get a message on my phone, and it would say, Wolf, I'm at the Snow Bowl. But first he would start out with, hello, this is Martin. Hello, B, please. And then he'd say, Wolf, I'm at South Dakota State at the Snow Bowl. The snow is at the bottom of the window. He's on the first floor of a motel. It's about 4 or 5 feet deep. So that's that. We did a lot of stuff at those drive-ins, though. Fogel I was so shocked. It was so funny.
Well,
I think we ended up there another time with somebody else. Oh, it was Jeff Flint. Flint's like a manager at Eli Lilly of some research department or something. So I never would have thought of these dudes as, I called Flint's nickname was Rabbit because he was so slow. And one night we had been at the VFW, and this was like some kind of band or something was there. So most of my friends were drunk. And one of our friends couldn't say drink, he'd say shanks. And so we called the police Dr. Shanks. And, Dobe is drunk, and I said, Dobe, you need to get out of here. And the police showed up, as I knew they would. And Rabbit is so scared. We take off running, and he's so scared he's outrunning me. I'm the fastest guy in the state. He's the slowest. That's how much adrenaline he had going. He ran past me, and I said, Rabbit! That dude was something else. You got Rabbit was so afraid of everything. He was with me the night that there were some difficulties with one of the fraternities that cost them their windshield, pretty much. There was, they said something, we were walking, I forget, I think we were coming from Bowman Gym, something like that, or a party, something like that. But all of us lived on campus, so it wasn't like I could really remember exactly where we'd been. But these dudes started singing a bunch of stuff to Rabbit and one of our other friends. And I said, "What, man, what is wrong with you?" I said, "You don't know these dudes. Leave them alone." He's like, "Well, you can blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Look, I'm going to give you one warning. Leave them alone or I will crush you." And so they go back to their house, which incidentally, the chief is now the house mother for, house administrator.
And by the way, the Doctorn donating $5 says the next round of Mountain Dew's on me, Tom. Thank you, Doctorn. Very nice of you.
Oh, you're drinking Mountain Dew with Dole pineapple juice and Miranda tequila?
It's Mountain Dew Zero.
Oh, well, that's not any good unless it's got huge amounts of caffeine in it.
I think it does have caffeine in it.
That's one part of the guru.
Oh, I know. The delicious guru.
Well, Rabbit goes, and these two dudes, there's like three of us. And then some of my friends from high school show up, and I don't know what Jimmy Jackson was doing there, because he doesn't even live in that part of town.
It's hard to say. Hello. Hello. Looks like we dropped the wolf. Yeah, it's in a state of flux. Maybe he'll call back. Let me see here. Exactly, Wolf. Caffeine is what makes it worth drinking. Otherwise, I bloat myself up for no reason. Exactly. Let's see here. Why didn't someone call me? Said Terry Nee. I didn't know we were supposed to call you. We didn't make a plan. Unfortunately. John's already back, huh? Well, I still maintain Phil Elmore, only man to leave the Dabbleverse successfully. Many have tried. Doopa-doopa-doo says Terry Nee, my favorite bird. I'm not even in the Dabbleverse. I'm Dabbleverse adjacent. I don't think anyone here could say that I'm... And by the way, I'm the most anonymous member of the Dabbleverse. If I am in the Dabbleverse, every time I'm on a show, something really big happens and absolutely nobody remembers that I'm there. Remember when Shuli went over to Opie's show, that whole thing, Opie was supposed to come on to the BS show. I was on that show. Nobody remembers that I was there. Absolutely not one person. A big show. That's like being on the final episode of Cheers and nobody remembers you were on. People saying hi. Most cheerful chat room in the internet's history. Yes, verified by independent sources. So yeah, that's Terry Nee. I remember, Tom. I remember. Nobody remembers. You're just humoring me. Toby McGroby says, I don't consider this show part of the Dabbleverse, just something I discovered while in the Dabbleverse. That's the nicest thing anybody's ever said about this show. Julian Z just says, got here late, but good stories. Wolf caught most of it. Wolf's got great stories. Lucas Malago says, it is your Dabbleverse, Tom. No, it is not my Dabbleverse. Uh-oh, hold on. Here, I think we got him back. I think we have him back. Hello.
Hello.
All right, beautiful. We dropped you there.
Where did I leave off?
You were talking about Jimmy Jackson, who shouldn't even been in that part of town.
Yeah, so he owned his family had owned one of the restaurants, the Double Decker, for years, which is funny because my other friend's name is Decker. And I don't know what he was doing over there where he was, but one of the guys from their fraternity, there's probably like 20 of them, and there's probably 5 or 6 of us. And I said, look, you guys start something, I'm going to finish it permanently. And I looked at the guy that was supposed to be there. He was a DePaul cheerleader. And he thought he was something special. I looked him in the eye and I said, you start something, I'm going to finish it permanently. And so he got mad and walked off and hit Jimmy Jackson, who didn't do anything. He's supposed to be a tough guy. He didn't do anything. And later, and these are the same guys that I threw cheeseburgers at, by the way. When they messed with the snow sled.
Why do guy cheerleaders think they're badasses? I never understood that. No idea. They all do, though. It's like, you're not. You're the guy cheerleader. You're a dude who couldn't make the gymnastics team. That's who you are.
Basically, yeah. So we walk off. And later, because I knew who these guys were, I told them, I said, you screw with me, you made a big mistake. So somehow the next day, I don't know, they must have been driving behind some of the semis coming from Lone Star with gravel in them or something, but their entire front windshield was destroyed. And they passed by me walking home probably from Big John's, and yelled some stuff. And I said, hey, what happened to your windshield? Looks like you can't see very well. And they're like looking out. They got the windows down, looking out of the side because they can't see out of the windshield.
That's a shame.
All the police in the town, I either went to high school with or my brother did. So we know all the cops personally. And I get called by Sonny Woods, who's the police chief then. And my brother was in class with, I think, 2 of his younger brothers. Well, one older brother was a year older than Rod, and then one was his age. So I knew them all anyway. And plus all of us had street rods. So he calls me in. And my dad tells me that the police chief's on the phone. I said, wonder why. So I get on the phone. And they've called Rabbit, too.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, great. This is all I need, Rabbit blabbing his mouth. So we both arrive. I'm waiting on him because Rabbit lived pretty close, but not as close as I did. So I'm standing there waiting when Rabbit shows up, and I said, you say absolutely nothing except hello and goodbye. And I looked at him and I gave him the look and he said, okay. So we go up and Sonny Woods says, Kim, understand that there was a little altercation with you and some of the students at DePaul. And I said, Sonny, I have no idea what you're talking about. And he said, well, we've had some reports that maybe you attacked their vehicle, you destroyed their windshield, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, well, Sonny, you know as well as I do that I live amongst like 7 or 8 fraternities and probably 6 sororities. I said, I've seen all of these people virtually the whole year, for years. I said, they know me, I know them. I said, as you can see, I stick out like a sore thumb because I was pretty big then. I wasn't as big as I am now. But
Right.
When I wrestled people, they were afraid to wrestle me. So that's to give you some idea.
Right.
And so I said, Sonny, I don't know who you're talking about. I said, I see these guys from these fraternities all the time. I said, what are you talking about? He says, well, there's a report that somebody smashed out a windshield with a pipe or something. And I said, well, that, that's really too bad. I said, but, I did see these guys driving down the street in that green, I think it was a green Ford or green Chevy. So I did see these guys driving down the street in a green Chevy. And I said, I know those guys are Sigma Chi's, but that's all I know about them. And I said, by the way, Sonny, when was this supposedly done? Well, it was supposed to be done last night. And I said, well, if you check with my dad and my mom, I was at home in bed. So unless somebody actually saw me, you're barking up the wrong tree. Sorry I couldn't help you. Have a good day. Say hello to your brothers.
Best of the wife.
Yeah. Yeah, and said hello to some of the guys on the way out too. Varvel was my brother's class and had an orange judge, and very nice judge. And so he always told me, Kim, if I catch you drinking, I'm just going to drive you home. I said, okay, but you'll never catch me. And so he was there for the head through the windshield first crash that Decker and I were in.
Uh-huh.
But where Steve, we're going about 45, and some guy pulls out of McDonald's and hits his head on. Apparently he had beer in the back of his truck, and it came loose and started rolling, and he looked around to see what was going on and hit his head on. I went through the windshield. And the ambulance shows up, Varvel shows up, and I start getting out of the car. And the windshield's completely destroyed. I got glass in my face. Because it felt kind of hot, but it didn't hurt or anything. I didn't get a headache from it. And I fell up there and I saw some blood and I said, that's it. And I get out of the car and I start walking over to this guy, and Varvel jumps in between us. Kim, come over. You're really bleeding out. Come on over here and let's get to the ambulance, and try to keep me from beating this guy to death.
Toby McGroby says, can you blame them? I'd put the sirens off and take the night off sick. Is that the guy who kept lifting cars out of the way? Yeah, I'm not feeling well. Going home for the night, guys. Terry Nee says, Tom married Ball State. Toby McGroby says, through the windshield?
Yep. Decker hit the steering wheel with his mouth, so he had to get stitches. We get to the emergency room, and it's Mike Glover's mom who was in charge of the emergency room. So she saw a few things that I did that I'd rather not discuss. She saw the result of one of them.
Rumple Trenchcoat says, Toby, like John Cleese in Silverado, today my jurisdiction ends here.
So but they, I never really tried to cause trouble with police unless they were screwing with me and they had no business doing it.
Hey, Toby asked if his mouth was okay eventually.
He got 3 or 4 stitches in his lip. And I'm telling, me, I'm telling jokes and making the nurses and stuff laugh. And one of them said, Kim, you've got to stop making jokes. We can't finish doing what we're doing. So they are scrubbing my forehead, which I have scars on it now. Well, I had them probably at school. They were probably more noticeable then, but there's glass in my face. And so they're scrubbing it. And I said, don't you think it would be more effective to pull them out instead of scrubbing them in? So that was what happened there.
Karen Garvey wants to know what model car it was.
Which car?
The one you crashed in.
Oh, it was a station wagon.
Oh, okay.
It was like an Oldsmobile station wagon.
With the fake plastic wood on the outside?
Yes. As a matter of fact, it did. And that was like the family car. Decker had a VW which caused me to lose my temper a little later for another incident.
Well, we got to button this. I got like 4 minutes left. We'll have to pick up where you left off.
Well, the other one I could tell you about Decker's car that we used to cruise in. It was just a VW that he'd restored. Beautiful paint job, Porsche motor, and the rest was all stock. But he'd spent a lot on the paint. I don't know where he had it done. But anyway, that's some of the craziness that I was up to. I had a hair trigger temper because, for many years I was the smallest guy on the field playing football, but I was always the one making all the plays and all the scores, as you know.
Uh-huh.
And then basketball, I was the enforcer underneath. I played against guys that were well over a foot taller than me and beat them up and averaged 12 rebounds a game as a guy that's only 5'6", jumping against guys that are 6'10" and 6'6" and 6'8". So you know what that meant. Somebody underneath was rough. And in football, of course, same deal. Well, wrestling, same deal there.
Yeah.
I had to destroy every guy I was against because for some obvious Indiana reasons, I had to really beat a guy in just to get a pin or to win.
Yeah.
So anyway.
All right. Well, call in again. We'll go over some more stuff.
All right.
All right, man. Thanks for calling.
Audio.
All right. Bye-bye. That's the wolf out of nowhere with stories. Okay. What do we got here? Holding court in the OR. God, he holds court everywhere. Say goodnight, Gracie. Woody wagon doors sell for insanely priced nowadays, especially the real wood. The fake wood, a lot of it broke off. Doop-a-doo. Good night, Wolf. Good night, Wolf. Wolf is awesome. Isn't he awesome? Thank you, Wolf. Love your stories. Wolf's got good stories. That old clock on the wall says it's time to be going. So I thank Rumpled Trenchcoat for his generosity and Doc Dorn for his generosity. We had 5 memberships from Rumpled Trenchcoat and $5 from the Doc Dorn. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. Julian says they should make woodies out of teak like sailing boats. Yeah, you used to have to varnish them every year when they were real wood. Good night, Tom. Good night, everybody. The only thing left to say is, till next time. We'll see you next time.